Yes, congratulations. You've made it back to the best part of my week. We are the Red Hot Underdogs. I am Anzac in my hat. I'm here with the ever incredible, long contained, often imitated, never duplicated. Put your hands together for the one and only Drewy.
Hey, buddy. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the podcast that has no time to waste, but will probably waste absolutely everybody's time.
That's right. Yeah.
Anyway, we don't actually have too much time to waste because this episode, because there's not too much sport going on right now, we are compiling our list of the top 10 greatest Australian iconic sports stars of all time. So, not necessarily the best, even though most of these are the best in their field, but the most iconic, the most revered, the most remembered.
Yep.
The most iconic.
Iconic.
Yes.
And in 40 minutes, this is a unachievable task, and I almost am I allowed to tell you I feel a bit nervous? Is that okay?
I'm nervous. Yeah. We should start at number 10 because already the gun has gone off.
And also, can I just, before we begin, just to calm our nerves down, it's no rush. It's no rush. And I thought I got my hat out and then I was freaking out before because I'm like, I can't wear like a shirt that says Spaniard, on the top 10, Australian iconic sports persons. But I am. So anyway, we're off to a red hot, underdog start. That's an underdog start.
It's very red hot Underdogs. So I might kick off proceedings.
Okay.
My number 10 now.
10.
My number 10. Let me just say, not everyone will agree with these lists, and that is fine. This
Including
is just our personal opinion.
Yeah, because you got yours, I got mine, and I know you won't like mine. I know you won't.
Yeah.
I'm just throwing it out.
And debate is good. Coming at number 10 for me is none other than the king of the mountain, Peter Perfect, Peter Brock. Massive icon of Bathurst.
Yes.
I'm sorry, but he had to sneak into my top 10 somewhere, and he certainly did at number 10 place.
A few reasons.
To put things...
a few reasons, just because the Ford and the Holden was such a big thing for so many people and so many towns and so many Australians. And this guy was all Holden. It doesn't matter if you're all Ford or Holden. He chose a side and he died. He literally died doing what he loved for the Australian people, Peter Brock.
Yes, he did. So put things into perspective. He won Bathurst 9 times.
9 times.
He won Sandown 9 times, which was the lead-up race to get to Bathurst. He won the Australian Touring Championship 3 times. So, just amazing. And in fact, he won the Sandown from 1975 to 81 for 7 consecutive years. But he encapsulated that big spirit, the big rev head spirit on Mount Panorama.
Yes.
People loved him. The rev heads loved him. And he lived life hard and fast.
Yes.
He loved he was fast cars, alcohol, fast women.
And Australia was like he represented the Aussie. Do you know, everybody loved those big cars. They loved Aussie's cars. Do you know, they loved him. You're right. I didn't have him on my list, but he is dead set iconic Australian. He dead set is.
He absolutely did. Now, just to quickly wrap up.
Yep.
I'm sure that there have been many people in Mount Panorama over the years, couples that have had children that they've either called Peter or Brock.
Yep.
They've snuck behind a gum tree to have a quick naughty or a nice pile of tyres.
That's right.
Somewhere behind where the pit crew is.
That's right.
And he also lived life pretty fast and hard outside of life, outside of the track. He was married and divorced 2 times.
Yep.
One of his marriages was from 1967 to 1969.
Oh, yep.
One of them was from 1974 to 1975.
Yep, yep,
And
yep.
the last of his relationships was from 78 to 2005.
Oh, yep.
So he loved putting the gear stick where he shouldn't when he was off the track.
Yeah.
And in fact, his last relationship, one of his Bev Brock, who was his last partner, said in a book that things got a bit too tiresome in the 90s because he enjoyed one too many secretaries, which is a great way to sum up Peter Brock. My 10, on to you, big guy.
Can I just say one thing about Peter Brock before we move on? I mean, when he died, just before he died, someone was holding up a sign that said, "We hope Brock hits a rock." And do you know what I mean? And he died. Well, I don't know if he hit a rock, but he definitely died by, having an accident. And that's how you want to die, Drew. Do you know? Like not die hitting a rock, but you want to die doing something you love.
Yes. Okay. It wasn't with loose women, it was driving the car. So congratulations.
Yeah.
Your 10. We've got to beat the clock.
Oh, no, I thought you go your 10 and then because mine's not as we'll do yours.
Okay.
All
right. Number 9. I've got Wally Lewis.
9.
Number 9. Big bad Wally Lewis.
Okay.
Now, I hate putting him in because I'm a New South Welshman.
Yeah.
Played 31 Origin games between 1980 and 1991.
Yep.
He was an Aussie rep player from 1981 to 1999.
Yep.
Played 33 games for Australia.
Yep.
Was the 6th member of the Immortals.
Yep.
He was named in the Team of the Century in 2008. He was the 38th member of the Australian Sporting Hall of Fame, named in 2016.
Yep.
They even named a medal after him, the Wally Lewis Medal, which goes to the most outstanding player throughout the series of an Origin.
Statue, mate. They've got a statue,
They've got a statue of the man, which is huge. And he was legendary on the Queensland circuit. Unfortunately, we didn't get to see too much of him down here.
Yeah.
He never won an NRL premiership, which is the one blight on his very storied and decorated career. Yeah, but he literally came in at the back end.
One person can't win or lose a premiership. Do you know what I mean? It's
no. So
and also, am I allowed to say this, Drew? You're doing amazing. But if someone keeps in their sport after they've finished as a sports person, it still makes them a bit more iconic. Am I allowed to say that? And he never stopped. You never stopped seeing him.
He's very well remembered. So he's with the Broncos from 1988 to 1990.
Yep.
Now, he was at the end of 1990, he actually got dropped by his coach, Wayne Bennett.
Yeah.
To much disgust from Broncos fans and much outrage. But the Broncos fans didn't need to worry because good old Clint Eastwood knew exactly what he was doing.
Yeah.
Because the Broncos won in 1991 when poor old King Wally wasn't there. He was at the bottom of the ladder with the Gold Coast Seagulls from 1991 to 1993.
They were only around 2 or 3 years, right? The Seagulls.
Yeah, he was with them from 91 to 93. Yeah. So he literally went from the penthouse to the shit house.
Yeah, but
and the year he moved to the Seagulls,
Yeah. Yep. Tell me
the year he moved to the Seagulls, they actually got the wooden spoon. And had he stayed at the Broncos, they would have won the premiership. Yeah. But that wasn't his decision, out of his hands. Apart from that, I don't want to shit on his career because very storied, destroyed New South Wales.
Yeah.
On plenty of occasions, absolutely tore it up for Australia. He's one of those players.
I agree.
Seemed to have a mile of time to do everything.
Yes, absolutely. I agree. All right, number 8.
Number 8. Now, here's one that New South Welshmen, Queenslanders aren't so familiar with. Leigh Matthews.
Oh.
The AFL great.
Oh.
So,
yep.
He played for the Hawthorn Hawks from 1969 to 1985, 332 games and 915 goals. He won 4 premierships as a player, 1971, 1976, 1978, and 1983. He was the Hawks Player of the Year 8 times. He was an All-Australian member in 1972. He made that team, the All-Australian team. AFL Team of the Century he was in, the Hawks Team of the Century, and he won 4 premierships as a coach, one with Collingwood in 1990 and 3 with Brisbane from 2001 to 2003. He made the AFL Hall of Fame. He made the Australian Sports Hall of Fame. And really, I can't put too much more polish on the dude.
No, he never left the sport. He was always in it. He was the best and never left it, you know.
The guy's got credentials for days. Now, as much as we love King Wally, I'm sorry, but he almost makes King Wally look like an apprentice.
Yeah.
He almost looks like the sensei, and
kings don't have an apprentice. Kings have a servant. He makes the king look like a servant.
Just an absolute beast, Leigh Matthews. Unbelievable. So I don't really need to say too much more on the guy.
No.
He's just an overachiever that makes everybody else look absolutely second rate.
I like it. Number 7.
Yep. Number 7, Mr. I love yous all, Jeff Fenwick.
Yeah, wow. Okay.
Absolute Australian sporting icon.
Yep. Our
greatest Australian boxer ever up to this point.
Yep.
Fought from 1984 to 1996, and then he had one fight in 2008.
Okay.
But that one was completely unmemorable. So,
well, what do you remember? What was that, 2008? You remember it?
Well, actually, I'll just quickly mention the 2008 one.
Yeah.
So he fought the legendary Azuma Nelson years ago. I believe it was something like 1991 or something. Anyway, he was trying to capture his 4th weight division.
Yeah.
He'd already captured 3 weight divisions. Now, Azuma Nelson is an absolute legend. And unfortunately, in that fight in America, it was scored a draw, much to the disgust of the press and the fans and everyone in Australia. Highly controversial and could easily be called a robbery.
Yeah.
So not so long after, they then had a rematch in Melbourne, by which case he then unfortunately suffered an 8th round TKO loss to Azuma Nelson in the rematch. Unfortunately. But by that stage, he had conquered 3 weight divisions, which is awesome.
Yeah.
That 2008 match, unfortunately, that was a win against Azuma Nelson. But let's not pretend that was anything to be excited about. That was 2 men in their mid-40s. At that point, Jeff Fenwick was 44 and Azuma Nelson was 46. Neither of them had a belt.
It was just a show. It was just a circus fight just for the punters and, just to have a good time.
Jeff Fenwick was trying to get back that moment, but unfortunately not everyone else was on board because of their age. It was kind of like being accused of manslaughter and going to prison before your 21st birthday. And then you get out when you're 44 and you say, hey, everybody, let's have my 21st birthday now. The nostalgia, the lust, the gloss, it all gone. No one bought on board with that narrative of winning that.
The older you
get, but that's okay.
The older you get, the less presents you get and the less people reply to you and turn up at your birthday.
The less people absolutely give a shit. But to put things in...
Until you turn 100, 100 people care, Yeah.
Correct. To put things into perspective, he held the IBF bantamweight belt from 1985 to 1987, WBC super bantamweight belt from 1987 to 1988, and the WBC featherweight belt from 1988 to 1990. But outside of those achievements, we love that cheeky smile. We
Yep.
love the
Mauler.
Marrickville Mauler.
Marrickville
Mauler was
Yep.
his name.
Yep.
Outside
He's
Jeff
iconic.
Fenton's ring name.
He's an iconic Australian. And he's a boxer, you know?
Big hustler for the blue collar fans.
Yep.
Even my dad, who wasn't a huge boxing fan, I remember as a kid, he never missed a Jeff Fennick fight, and he always went to the pub. I remember going to the Manly Corso.
Yep.
The pubs were absolutely packed.
Yep.
He was Mr. 1980s and Mr. 1990s.
Yep.
Very well done, Jeff Fennick.
Number 6.
Number 6. None other than the great Shane Warne.
Oh, yes. Yes. What a legend. Seriously. What a legend.
Now, even if you don't have a very good debut at test level, you can still reach the greatest of the greatest heights on what I call Australia's greatest bowler of all time.
He did have a good debut.
Terrible debut.
Oh, I thought he had a great debut.
Incorrect.
Oh.
He got 1 for 150 in the first innings and none for 78 in the second innings against India.
Okay.
However, not long after that, the wickets started to flood in like it was nobody's business. They started to flood in like the water would flood into the Titanic when it was sinking. To put things into perspective, 145 tests, 708 wickets at an average of 25.41. Absolutely phenomenal going. His one-day international record, just as consistent. 194 one-day internationals, 293 wickets at an average of 25.73. And in his test career, he had 10 10-wicket matches and 37 5-wicket innings. And his best bowling was 8 for 71, which was absolutely amazing. And he wrapped up such storied and heavenly statistics, all into a big live fast, die young life where he died at 52.
Yeah, and he was an iconic Aussie too, just because of the looks, the hair, the girls, the smoking. Do you know what I mean? The beers.
Yeah.
You know? Like, they just loved him, you know? He represented Australia, you know?
He had a few scandals in his time. We love a few scandals.
Yeah,
he had a scandal over the smoking.
You know? Remember those pommy girls? They were just very voluptuous women, weren't they? You know, you can't forget them. I mean, that's Australian to do that. You know, it's Australian to go and fall in love over on the other side of the world. You know, he's iconic Australian Warnie. Yes.
We love you, Warnie, for all your achievements and for all those brilliant stats. However, just to sum it up, we loved his controversial moments, the moment where he fought 2 teenage boys over their camera, tried to grab it off them and rip out their film before mobile phones because he had a sponsorship deal with Nicorette, who's getting paid to be a non-smoker. They call him smoking. The hookers in his hotel room, amongst other things. And just as he was trying to repair his relationship after he had a separation from his wife, he had the final atom bomb by sending a text message, a sexy text message, to another woman that he accidentally sent to his wife. So, Shane Warne, we salute you, and we're not worthy.
What a legend, you know. What a legend. And living hard and dying young. Do you know?
Dying young.
You know, like what a legend. What a legend. Okay, all right. We'll move on from Shane Warne. Everybody loves Warnie. Okay,
next one.
5.
Coming at number 5, the Great White Choke. Or should I say, the Great White Shark.
Yeah, yeah,
We love Greg Norman.
yes,
Unfortunately, he got an unfair reputation of choking in the big
yep,
events.
yep,
However, it doesn't tell the full story of his career.
yep,
Even though he was Jekyll and Hyde, he had huge moments of greatness.
yep.
During his golfing career, he actually won 89 professional titles. He won his two majors in 1986 and 1993,
Yep.
which were the British Open. They're now known as the Open Championship for some reason.
Yep.
Anyway,
More inclusive.
actually,
Mate. We're an inclusive world, you know. We're more inclusive, you know.
It's become a bit weird. I preferred the British Open. Anyway, he did come second 7 times.
Oh, Jesus.
Now, you think about that, he probably should have won at least 3 or 4 of those. So he could have been looking at 5 or 6 majors, but being Greg Norman, he'd hit the ball in the lake at the wrong time, or the car park, or the sandpit. Pick your poison.
Yeah.
Fair or unfair. He came second in the Masters in 1986, 1987, and 1996. He came second in the PGA Championship in 1986 and 1993, and second in the US Open in 1984 and 1995. However, during his more sunshine and storied moments in his career, he spent a total throughout his career of 331 weeks at number 1, which is equivalent to 6 years and 3 months.
Yeah.
And
that's like Djokovic,
also extremely marketable.
Like the best of the best you're talking there, you know?
Yeah. So the guy was pretty much absolutely wiping everyone out and beating them from pillar to post all the time, except for when the bloody majors rolled around.
Yeah.
But that's okay.
And
we love you, Greg Norman.
And the shark and the logo. And he was just so dominant at a time where there was no Aussies even near his level, you know?
That is absolutely correct. I'm glad you mentioned that, the hat and the shark logo. And he even sort of had a bit of a blonde mullet there at some point before he started to lose his hair.
And before he started to develop that American accent, you know?
Yeah. I'm still sus on whether that was put on or not. Part of me thinks that was for his business ventures post-golf career.
Are we up to 5 or 4?
We can go on to 4 now. Thank you, Great White Shark.
Great White Shark, number 4.
Beautiful. Number 4, Rocket Rod Laver, the great Australian tennis player, Rod Laver Arena.
Okay, yeah.
Easily Australia's greatest male tennis player of all time.
Okay.
He completed the Grand Slam twice, which is winning all of the majors in 1 year.
Yeah, wow.
And the only man to ever do it in the Open era. Yeah. Which is amazing too.
Wow. So still the only man to do it in the Open era. Still.
Yeah. So like officially he has 11 majors.
I really thought Feds or would have done that, or the Joker would have done that, you know?
I will tell you this, it's so much harder doing it now. Djokovic has won 3 in a year a couple of times. Yeah. I think twice. It's so much harder to do it now. They don't have wooden rackets like they did when Rod Laver was around. And would you believe that there were 2 surfaces that Rod Laver played on at one stage? This is how old he is. I don't want to call the man a dinosaur. But
no, he is.
He once played on...
You see him now, he's still alive, but he's looking every bit 150.
In the shade, but he also played once on wood, and would you believe he played on carpet? Wood? So that's awesome.
On wood?
Yes. He was known to play on wood and carpet. I love all these old relic Noah's Ark stories. They're part of the nostalgia, and they're part of the iconic grandeur, which is the man who is number 4, Rod Laver. And
Laver, good on you, Rod. Number 4.
Number 4. So he won 11 majors in the Open era, 8 in the non-open era. So he could have actually unofficially been at 19 majors.
Yep. Okay.
Pretty phenomenal guy.
Right,
and he's got a statue and he's got an arena.
He's got a statue and he's got if you got a stadium or arena named after you,
yes,
you're up there. You're definitely up there.
And just as a side note, not including the majors, he's won the most titles of all time, which is 198 tennis titles.
Okay. Good on you, Rod. Number 3. We're top 3 already, man. We're smashing it. We're absolutely smashing it.
Number 3, not everyone's favorite, but more iconic for her exploits on the tennis court, none other than Margaret Court, because she is so amazingly decorated as a player and her performance, not necessarily because of her personality or because everyone is so endeared to Margaret Court.
Yeah. Well, there's been controversy. She hasn't learnt to bite her tongue, and she's offended many people of late. But I mean, look, so do we, Drew. We've upset people on the Red Hot Underdogs because of what we said. So I mean, you gotta say what you believe and put your heart, wear your heart on your sleeve. Is that the term?
Yeah, absolutely.
No,
we've consistently said here at the Red Hot Underdogs, the truth doesn't give a fuck about your feelings. That's been one of my constant mainstays.
Okay.
And Margaret Court didn't mind speaking her mind either.
No, she didn't.
One of the major ones was obviously the LGBTQ thing, dead against that. But without going down a weird Margaret Court rabbit hole, she won 24 majors, 11 Australian Opens, 5 French, 3 Wimbledon, and 5 US.
All right, moving on from Margaret, but can I just say, lastly, she does have the best name to have an arena named after her. Like, it's ridiculous.
Bar none.
Like, seriously.
Yes.
It's like meeting someone and, what's your name? Tom Painter. What do you do? I'm a painter. Do you know what I mean? It's like ridiculous. It's like ridiculous,
I've got the perfect one.
Yeah.
It's like Lane Beachley in surfing.
Yeah, exactly.
There you go. It's only Lane is much more less iconic.
Yeah. Okay, moving on from Margaret. I don't want to say bad stuff about her, but okay, top 3. Is she iconic? A lot of people wouldn't like that, Drew, because
people might not like it.
But now, You
know what? I'm also going to throw in her 19 majors doubles and her 21 major mixed doubles. She just did it all, but doesn't necessarily make you iconic. It just makes you very good at your craft.
So so that's a first one, I say, know, and people don't know her because of that. They know her because she upsets people, not they know her because she got this and that done,
I thought I was doing all right up until then, but that one might have been a bit of a
Forget that. See you, Margaret. You've been kicked. So, number 2.
I think you'll actually like this. None other than good old Dawn Fraser.
Okay, 10-minute warning. 10-minute warning, cuz 10 minutes. 10 minutes.
10-minute warning. She won 8 gold medals. She won 8 Olympic medals, I should say, not gold. 8 Olympic medals.
Yep.
She won 4 gold. She won 4 silver.
Yep.
She won the 1 gold for the 100 meters in 3 successive Olympic Games, which are the 1956, 1960, and 1964 Olympics. In 1962, she broke the 100-meter freestyle record, which actually then stood for 10 years and 8 years after her retirement. It was only then broken in 1972.
I guess, but all the records are broken now. And
just brilliant.
Who have you met in the past 40 years and her name is Dawn?
Yeah, I know. Very old name.
Yeah, seriously.
But you know what I love most about Dawn Fraser?
Dawn, dusk and dawn. It's quite a nice time. Like Dawn of the Dead, great movie. Anyway, no, I don't like Dawn. I don't like her. I'm not accepting that on the list. And that's your number 2, Drew. That's your number 2. No.
You know what I love about her? She got a 10-year ban in 1964 Olympics in Tokyo for stealing an Olympic flag.
Good on her. Yeah,
And that,
I like her more. I'll give her that. Just because she stole an Olympic flag in Tokyo, I like her a little bit more. But to me, no way she doesn't make the list, which makes us up to number one.
none other than Mr. Don Bradman.
Of course. Yep.
If I got this wrong, I would be a complete and utter goose, and it would be time to pack up the podcast, even though some people think we probably should anyway.
Yep.
But
well, not everybody's going to agree with you. Maybe I don't agree. But why? Tell me why. I know, are you going to tell statistics? Okay, because cricket statistically, he was twice as good as the next best person.
You don't need to go much past the statistics, but I will.
Yeah.
But he actually had 52 tests.
Yeah.
29 hundreds.
Yeah.
13 50s at an average of 99.94.
That's crazy, so
absolutely incredible.
And other people's
that will never ever be done again.
Yeah. So I mean, there's but again, iconic. If you go up to people on the street, Australians, and say, "Do you know Don Bradman?" Nobody under 25 will know who he is. I'm sorry. Okay, well,
you might be right. Listen, this guy was living off sort of achievements from World War II for decades. Not just years. And if you point to any given Australian, he's by far the most iconic, and not just known here.
Yes, but he's not known to the youth. He's not known to young Aussies. So is he the most iconic Australian? Yeah, he should be, because he's twice as good. There's no one on this list that is twice as good as anybody else, but he's not known because he's been dead for how long? 50 years.
Well, very well revered in England, in India, in South Africa, Pakistan.
Yeah, for anybody our age who's a bee stick away from 50. Do you know what I mean? But the world's changed, Drew. I kind of, look, I'm going to read you my list.
He's still talk about it. He's been talked about for years. You go, your turn.
Okay, all right.
Your turn.
So yes, I agree. He should be number one. But
iconic
is a big word.
Case closed.
Okay.
Your turn.
Case closed. All right. Now, I'm going to start with someone who's not on the list. That bloke, Ben Simmons or Simons. That's not on the list. He's that very, very rich Australian basketball player. I just kind of had him on there, not making it in, because he's worth, he's got a $250 million deal. But is he iconic? Americans would know him. Australians don't know him. So he's not on the list. Okay. Next one.
We want people on the list.
Okay.
Yes.
The next one, I give you a choice and you say who or who. Number 10, Sam Kerr or Tim Cahill?
Oh, neither, but if I had to choose, I'd probably say Sam Kerr.
Okay. The next
only because she's heavily on the rise, and the women's team is much more popular than the men's, strangely enough.
Well, you're right, because she's around now, and we've just gone through that, we love women athletes and blah, 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 and
called recency bias. Bias.
Yeah, recency biased. She is iconic. Okay, recency bias. Next one, I just wrote Cadell Evans.
Okay.
You see, okay?
He's fine. I'm just a bit butthurt because you whipped me over Margaret Court, and you're bringing in the likes of Cadell Evans and Sam Kerr.
These guys, but
they're good sportsmen, but they're not iconic.
We got 4 minutes, Drew. We got 4 minutes. Okay, the next one.
Keep going.
The next one you choose, Costa Zoo, Jeff Fennick.
Oh, Jeff Fennick.
Okay. And
I had him in my list, and I'm sticking by him.
I agree, but I threw Costa in there because he was just as big name. However, Jeff has stayed here. Jeff has, training. He's at all the fights. And because of that, he's much more iconic. Costa, you haven't even seen him since his son turned.
Posture lacks the nostalgia as well.
Okay. The next one, I had AFL as well, but I actually wrote Tony Lockett and Lance Buddy Franklin. So between those two, choose one.
I don't mind them.
Okay.
I don't mind.
Choose one. Choose one. Choose one.
Oh, I'm going Lockett. Big bad plugger.
Yeah, and I guess that relates to us. Maybe it's a bit more our age and stuff. 3 minutes to go. Quick. Okay, next one. You'll like this one. Ash Barty or Leighton Hewitt?
Leighton Hewitt, come on.
Me too. Why? Why did you choose Leighton Hewitt over Ash Barty?
I just think he was a more polarizing character. Some people loved him. Some people didn't like him as much. He offered more personality. He was better at interviews, more outspoken.
He kept going.
And just a bigger name.
He kept going even when he was no good, while Ash Barty just suddenly quit at the top.
Just a bigger name. Just more remembered.
And what does Ash Barty do now? She just changes nappies.
Not much.
Flips burgers.
Yeah.
But Leighton, he's playing, these celebrity matches. He's training people.
Correct.
In the corner getting yelled at. So, yeah, he's iconic, dude. Mate,
let's get to number one. We're running out of time.
All right. Listen, next one. You'll like this. These are two people you didn't mention that I reckon could have been on your list. Cathy Freeman or Ian Thorpe?
I thought of Cathy Freeman. She gets an honourable mention with Alan Border for not being on my list. And Dennis Lilly. But enough of honourable mentions.
Cathy
Freeman.
Okay, but I'm going to agree with
you.
She
lit the flame. That's all I'm going to say.
One goal, but Ian Thorpe won more and was probably more famous at that time, maybe. But, Cathy had flags. She tried to do commentating and couldn't do it. They're Aboriginal. Does that make you more iconic, being Aboriginal?
I think the Aboriginal factor and lighting the flame boosts her above Thorpe. And unfortunately,
I do too.
Just because you're better doesn't always mean you're more iconic.
And she had the costume. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, correct. The one piece.
You can't recognize her. You can recognize the onesie, the running onesie.
The big onesie.
The big onesie that nobody else had,
Correct.
So, yes, Cathy Freeman. Okay, agreed. All right, next one. You were right here. Don Bradman or Shane Warne?
Oh, Don Bradman. Come on, stop that nonsense.
Yeah, but do you know what I mean? Like, there's comparables there. It's the same sport. But Don Bradman so long ago, but being twice as good as anyone, he takes the turkey. He wins the cake. Yeah. Next one, Drew. Next one. Greg Norman, Cameron Smith.
Greg Norman.
Agreed. Great. Cameron Smith's playing now, but Greg Norman was much better and has the hat and this and that.
More iconic. For the record, I think Cameron Smith is the greatest rugby league player that ever played.
Number 2, Anthony the Man Mundine. What a legend. What an icon. Okay, and are you ready? My number 1. Drum roll. Give me a drum roll. Raygun. Number 1. Raygun is the most iconic